Aileen here from Homegrown Happiness. Today I'm going to show you how I make my sourdough croissant. Before I start, I just want to say sorry for the really bad acoustics. This room has really high ceilings and it's just messed up the sound, and I don't have a proper microphone yet to fix it, so sorry about that. Hopefully you can ignore it. I have my ingredients set out here and I'm going to talk through what they are, but I first want to say that you need to allocate 3 days to make these croissants. That doesn't mean it's 3 days of really hard work. In fact, all the steps are really simple, but you do need the time factor of the 3 days. So I have 450 grams of strong white flour, 1 teaspoon salt, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 250 milliliters of cold water, 50 grams of unsalted butter that's just at room temperature, and 150 grams of active sourdough starter. And this starter is at 100% hydration. That means it's got the same amount of flour as water in there. So I'm going to start by just adding in the sugar and the salt. I'm going to add in the starter. And the water. Okay, and at this stage I'm just going to use my hands to work in the butter. So the dough's pretty sticky, but it still forms a nice ball. So that's the dough ball, and I have actually washed this bowl and greased it with some butter before putting the dough back in. That's because the bits of dough that get stuck to the side of the bowl will dry out and then they'll flake off and fall into your dough, so it's better just to start off with a clean one. And now I'm just going to leave this out to proof for about 3 hours before putting in the fridge for the rest of the night. And while it's doing that, I'm going to cover it with a damp tea towel just to stop the top from drying out. And then in preparation for tomorrow's step, we'll need 250 grams of unsalted butter, so now is a good time to keep it out. If you keep it in the fridge usually, keep it out now so that's room temperature for tomorrow. So it's now the morning of the next day and I'm going to start on the next step. For this step I'm going to be making a butter package, and so this is like a big block of butter that is going to be rolled into the dough that we made yesterday. The butter that we will be rolling in needs to be quite cold to create nice flaky layers in the croissant, but initially while I make it into this square I'm going to have it quite soft so that I can work it easier, and then I'll let it cool down and get in the fridge before I use it. So for that I have the 250 grams of unsalted softened butter, and I'm going to add a tablespoon and a half of plain flour to it. This is just going to make it a little bit more malleable and I'm going to be able to work it better and roll it out. Okay, so that flour is all incorporated in there, and now I'm going to take these 2 sheets of baking paper and I'm going to roll out like a rectangle of butter. There are so many ways to do this, but this is the way I find the easiest. So later I'm going to roll the dough out to a rectangle as well. That's half the size of this butter. So I'm not going to make it too big. I'm probably going to make it about 20 centimeters by 30 centimeters. Okay, that's this here, and now I'm just going to place it in the fridge for a little bit until it hardens up again. So the next step is rolling out the dough. So this is the dough that I made yesterday. It spent 3 hours sitting on the bench and then spent the rest of the night in the fridge, and now I've taken it out. I'm going to roll it out to be about double the size of the butter that I rolled before. Okay, that's my dough rolled out, and now I'm going to go grab the butter. So this has hardened up quite a bit, so then I'm just going to place this butter onto the dough. And then I'm going to fold over this part and just tuck that butter inside. And now I'm going to roll this flat, and then I'm going to let it sit in the fridge. This is like the first turn, and you're going to do this 3 times. You're going to roll it out, put it back in the fridge, roll it out, put it back in the fridge. That way you're kind of incorporating the butter in there, but every time you put it back in the fridge, it hardens up again so that it's never going to melt. Alright, and then I fold it into 3s like this, and then that's the first turn. And I'm going to wrap this up in this baking paper and then leave it in the fridge. Okay, so this has been in the fridge for just over half an hour, and it's quite firm again. If you take your dough out and it's still quite soft, put it back in, because you do want it to be cold. Now for this one, we're going to roll it this way, so the opposite way from before. Cool, and once it's rolled out, then we're going to fold it back up and put it back in the fridge. So I'm going to fold this up one more time, and then the next time I'll be cutting them and shaping them. So now it's time to roll them out and shape them. I'm just going to roll that out into like a large rectangle. Make half with chocolate and then half just plain croissant. Okay, so it's about 1/2 centimetre thick. So to cut your croissant, you want them in triangles, and then you roll up the triangle. And I want the bottom of the triangle to be about 10 centimetres and the length of the triangle to be about 25 centimetres. Now because I'm doing half regular croissant and half chocolate, I'm actually going to use the scraps that I cut off the regular ones to make the chocolate ones. That way there's no wastage. So before I start, I'm just going to semi-measure out where I'm going to cut my croissant, just so I don't mess it up halfway through. So I'm going to first start by measuring a little 5 centimetre increments. Now I'm going to cut them into triangles. So you'll see where I measured, these are the 2 5 centimetre marks, and they link to that one at the top, and then the same thing here. Alright, I'll just start with these because I still don't know how many I want to do in chocolate. So to roll a croissant, you'll grab your triangle, and then I stretch out these end bits and then you just start rolling. Roll it all the way forward, nice and tight, and then you have one there. So for the chocolate ones, I like to use the offcuts, but then I'll also use some of the other dough as well. So to do those, I just cut rectangles. So I've got some chocolate here, and this is just dark cooking chocolate, and I've just cut it up a little bit with a knife. I'm just going to place some at the end and then roll it up. So these are now just going to sit out at room temperature for about 4 hours before being moved into the fridge for the night, and then they'll be baked tomorrow morning. It is now day 3 and it's baking day. I've taken the croissant out of the fridge and I've let them come to room temperature. I've just left them out for about 40 minutes and then I've brushed them with an egg wash. And now I'm going to bake them in an oven of 200 degrees Celsius for about 25 to 30 minutes until they're a nice dark brown.